We are Steve and Jill. Together, we've been buying and reselling land since the 90s.
Our data-centric approach leaves our buyers asking, how can you sell it so cheap?
Here on the Land Academy Show,
We answer that and more. I'm Jeff Butella. This is the Land Academy Show. Today, I'm here with Karl Lathus. You may know him as the Land Academy Ambassador. He and his wife, Samantha, have been with us now, since Career Path for, I guess, over 2 years. Mm-hmm. He happened to be in town. His wife's in town, too. In fact, Jill's recording with her as we speak. Probably going to air on different Wednesdays. We'll see how it goes. But what I'm super intrigued with, and I guess we've been talking about all kinds of other stuff except work. What I'm intrigued with is, how did you guys make this work for you? Or was it just a natural thing? Or everybody wants to know what the secret is.
I mean, there's a lot that goes into that, but I mean, I say discipline has a lot to do with it. Samantha and I are very disciplined when it comes to this business. This is a great business. Jack has set this up for us, and we've learned from his teachings and through Land Academy, through Career Path. We did all that, but most importantly is we've taken those things that we've learned and we've actually applied them, and we've been disciplined with them. We consistently send out mail when we say we're going to send out mail. We consistently answer our phone when we're going to answer our phone, and we do what we say we're going to do. We've learned all the subtle nuances that make this business profitable and doable and easy, and we focus on those, and we don't get distracted very often from those. So I think our discipline towards this craft, towards investing in land and towards building this business has really been pivotal for us.
I mean, you came to this with entrepreneurial experience and corporate experience under your belt already, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I started my construction company. I own a construction company. I started that when I was 25 years old, and we built that business. I've said it a million times, but when I started that business, I couldn't afford extension cords. We couldn't afford to make a singular mistake, and we built that business from the ground up, and it's been great. After that, we moved into real estate, buying and selling houses, flips, you name it, the nightmares that
How'd
come
that go?
Yeah. Well, I'm not doing flips anymore, I tell you that. We made money. There's money to be made there. I know you guys made money doing it too, but I don't see you guys doing very many flips either.
I choose life.
Yeah, right. But we built a rental portfolio that we're proud of, and we still do own and operate. But when we really did come across this land, and how this business works, it resonated with us. The data aspect of things. Samantha is just, as you know, just wonderful at that.
Yeah.
I have so much faith in the way she aggregates our data and the way that she sends out our mailers. I have so much faith in that process that it really helps me do what I have to do, because I do a lot of what Jill does. I answer the phones, and I use that. I'm that part of the business, and it's nice to have faith in my partner who is really getting out the mail so consistently, and I have faith in what she says we could pay for the property. I know, that's somewhere where we need to be.
I don't think it's any surprise to anybody that we have a ton of married couples like Karl and Sam, and obviously Jill and I in our group. I can't imagine doing it. Well, I did this for a really long time, for decades without Jill, and it was a whole different, you probably do you run your construction company by yourself entirely, or does she help you there too?
She does the books. The construction
probably why you're still in business.
Yeah, right. She doesn't know what I do. No, yeah, well, that's the thing about this business is that you know it. You've done the same thing with Jill. Is that you can really work together with your team and your business, and you can build it based off of really the roadmap that you provided. With that construction company, with doing these other businesses, you don't always have that roadmap, and there's not always room for somebody else. The way my construction company works is I need to be in charge. I am the person in charge. Ask me if I'm in charge of our land business. There's a little bit of a different story there.
I'm not either.
So, this business is set up for this, in my opinion. It's set up for exactly who we are. We're very ambitious. We're very much go-getting, but we're also, Samantha's extremely intelligent, and she's able to really do that part of the job so much better than, I could ever do. So, why would I?
I've long said that these roles choose us. We don't choose them. I didn't set out to be the data person. It's just who I am, and that's it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're having a blast with it still. Give us some numbers. Like, what are you, just ballpark success numbers, year 1, year 2 kind of thing?
Well, you're talking to the wrong person. I can tell you, I can tell you what I told, we were discussing earlier about that, the minor split that we had just done.
Yeah.
Right. So Samantha and I purchased, I'm comfortable giving you the real numbers on that. We purchased a property. It was for $100,000. And we went through the process using Jack's transaction coordinator to help us through the process of minor splitting the property. So we split that property from 1 APN to 4 APNs. And at that rate, we're selling all 4 APN, each APN for around $100,000. So
buy for 100, sell for 400.
Exactly.
Wow.
And we're pleased with that. And, and that's not every deal is like that. That's the truth. And that's something I do want to stress is, we buy at times we buy for 5 and sell for 25 and things of that nature. But the reason we're playing this game is so that we can do things like buy for 100, sell for 400, because that's really what gets your blood going.
I mean, you send a bunch of mail out. The real truth is, and you know this, unless, maybe you have a different experience, but you send a bunch of mail out, it all comes back and you're staring at 5, 10, 15 deals from the mailer. You're going to choose. What we do is we look at the deal and we decide based on a piece of real estate. We didn't send it out with intent. We just sent it out to get some deal flow. And when it comes back, you decide what you're going to do. There might be $15,000 margin in a deal. It might be conducive to a minor split or just a regular flip, or you might just throw it in the trash can right there, and the numbers really vary.
Play the cards you're dealt, right? We did run into that this year, actually. For whatever reason, we had taken the stance that, hey, we're going to start doing bigger deals, larger dollar amounts, and that was our stance. And that's how the beginning of the year started out for us. And that was great. But for whatever reason, and I can't explain exactly why, but the deals that had started coming to us about middle of the year were in the $5,000-$6,000 acquisition price.
Wow.
And they were able to sell for 25, 30, 35,000, right? So we're very against making our mailer smaller, right? So when there are $5,000 offers in that data set, Samantha's leaving them in there, but she's going to make sure that it's going to be something that's going to make sense for us when she's going through and doing her test for reason. She wants to know that, hey, if this comes across our desk, would we still do it? No, we don't want $5,000 properties at our point in our career. But if we do, we want to make it profitable, right? And so I trust what she does. So when I get these deals that come across my desk, we inevitably purchase them. And, I'm not going to pass that up. We play the cards that we're dealt because of that. And we had a great year, a wonderful year. But the beginning of the year, larger properties. At the end of the year, larger properties. For some reason, right in the center of it, we were just hit by, these smaller properties. But, we did great, and I'm not complaining about it. It was wonderful.
Every time I have to systematize everything. Every time I do a deal, I multiply it times 12. So on your minor split deal, buy for 100, sell for 400, you made 300 grand, you do 10 of those, you're gonna make $3 million. If you can do that in a year, that's spectacular. It usually doesn't happen that way. But if you do, and there's no bad news in any of this. If you buy for 5 and sell for 25, you're making 20 grand, you do 10 of those, or 12 of those, it's almost $250,000 in profit. So I'm not here to simplify it, just like you said. There's a lot of work that goes into these real estate deals. There's not a lot of work, I don't think, in setting the mailer up, setting the systems up, and getting the mail out there and getting the deal flow in. But there is a lot of work. It seems like more and more as time goes on and getting these deals done. Are you guys seeing that with title companies and real estate agents on the sell side and all that stuff? I
think getting the deals done, we're not seeing it in our business. We're blessed. We're a part of, Land Academy, and we use Jack's transaction coordinator to close our deals, and through Land Academy Pro. But what we don't, so we don't really struggle with closing the deal, because honestly, that's that's a system that we have in place for that. But Samantha and I do see members, and we help members out often. And we do see that happening. Deals not getting to the finish line. And that's, like I said at the beginning, discipline, where it's important. If you don't have a transaction coordinator and you have to be your own transaction coordinator, that's fine. But you need to make sure you're following up and you're making those phone calls and you're making sure these deals close, because there's a lot of these deals that we've come across that if it wasn't for either our due diligence or Jan's due diligence and moving forward and continue to follow up with sellers and continue to follow up with title agencies, that these deals would fall apart. And they're profitable deals and there's money to be had there. So that's important.
We were talking earlier, just horsing around, not even talking about business really, but you said you get up at around 4 o'clock in the morning, right?
Yeah.
So what's a regular day for you? What's a regular day for you and Samantha and your whole family?
Well, so I wake up early. I've just always been that way. I usually wake up 4:30, and I have to run my construction company, and that's really when I do that. I set up everything. I set up all my systems and get everything ready for that. I'm usually down in my office working for those hours because, quite frankly, any phone call that's coming through from the land company at 4 in the morning, Pat Live can handle it for me. Just those are typically, I found that those are the calls that don't really need my attention. So around mid-morning, around 7:30 is really when I switch my focus and we start focusing on the land company. And I'm a little ashamed to say it, but I don't really spend that much time on the land company.
Neither do I.
And I answer phone calls, and we make sure everything's uploaded into our CRM and we make sure everything's in line. But realistically, when you have systems in place, you can really see what needs to be done in that day. And very rarely does that day extend very far into my day. Yeah. So most days, Samantha and I are done well before 3 o'clock.
I just think that's a trait for an entrepreneur and somebody who is a systems person. I'm sure you are. I spend 90% of my time on Land Academy or on the mailing company offers to owners, and maybe 10% probably end up in the bitter end, 5% of my work hours on buying and selling land or whatever we're buying, mobile homes or houses or whatever. So, Jill and I have been saying this forever. If we only spent time buying and selling land, if that's all we did, oh my God, our numbers would be staggering, and they're pretty good now. So what I hear you say is it all comes down to time management and organization and consistency.
Yeah.
Honestly, I bet you're more consistent than I am. I don't get up at the same time every morning and do the same thing. I do what's in my calendar because I set it up that way, but it's not the same thing over and over again at all.
I've been a man of habits my whole life. That's how I am. Good. That's how I've always been. And Samantha, she has her mailer Mondays. She makes sure she gets a mailer out every Monday. That's what we do. Wow. And I think that consistency, a lot of times I see a lot of members of Land Academy being like, hey, I'm going to send out this mail. I'm going to receive those phone calls. I'm going to buy this property. I'm going to close on it, then I'm going to list it, and when I sell that property, I'm going to send out my next piece of mail. That just doesn't work. It doesn't work for me on a personal level, but it doesn't work as a business, as this business. I can't stress it enough how important it is to consistently send mail. When that phone is consistently ringing, you're in a pattern. When my phone rings every single day, I'm in that pattern, and I receive those calls better, and I move forward better. The business continues to move forward better. When Samantha's consistently sending out that mail, it changes everything. We've had times where we said, hey, let's take a couple of weeks off and not send mail. And yes, we've survived and we've done great, but I can tell you the business it feels more clunky. I get in a rhythm and I continue to move. Yeah. And it really does well for us.
When you get that like that, when you are relatively consistent and it stops for whatever reason, I don't care if you go on vacation or some life event happens, it just feels like you're all out of whack, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Your body and your mind is trying to set yourself back on that track that it was comfortable in.
I wholeheartedly agree. That's why it's tough for me to, as much as Samantha and I don't live a life that's completely 100% focused on working all the time, we are always in the saddle, so to speak, and because when we remove ourselves from that, it's so hard for us to get going. Consistency is just so important.
So it's no secret that there's just a ridiculous amount of noise about buying and selling land out there on the internet. We talked about it a little bit earlier, all four of us. And so what we're seeing, I've been doing this for 35 years, together with Joe for 15, and then Land Academy is about 10 years old. We're seeing a lot of people trying to make a quick buck in this business by explaining to everybody how to buy and sell land. Just cracks me up a little bit.
Yeah.
So what the effect of that for us is we're seeing a different type of person join Land Academy. And so I would love your opinion on this. The person that there's a section or a subsection of people that are joining Land Academy. They join. They don't call us to talk to us or our salespeople or anything, but they join, they sign up, and they kind of have the attitude where they say, all right, make me some money. What do you say to that?
I don't even know what to say to that, to be honest with you. I mean, you're going to find those people in life, right? And here's the thing is the reason people are joining Land Academy, the reason the right people are joining Land Academy and finding us and not finding those other groups is because we're serious about this. And that's not a serious way to go about a business.
No, not at all.
As much as we joke around, like we've spent the last 3 or 4 hours together just talking, and we are joking around, having a great time. And there's a time and a place for that, right?
Yeah.
And when it comes to business, we're very serious about it. And I think that, when you take a look at the track record of who Land Academy is, who you are, and who Jill is, about how this has been built, it speaks for itself. And I think that's the members we're trying to attract. But at the same time, you have everyone out there, whatever business you're in, you need to take it seriously. It's okay to have, to joke around and do whatever, but like no one's going to go out there and do it for you in life, in anything. You got to go out there and do it yourself. And that's something that, we've attempted to do in our lives. And I feel success has been followed by that. No one cares about you. It's like, when you say, hey, Karl, make me $1 million. I say, okay, cool. I just don't know what to say to that.
I can tell you exactly step by step how to do that. I'm just not going to do it for you. I could do it for you, but I'd rather do it for myself.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah. But we do see that. I have seen that, and I'm sure you've seen that when people are saying, "Hey, how come I'm not making any money?" And you ask 3-4 questions,
just one.
One.
How many mailers have you done? Well, I haven't done one yet.
Yeah,
and that's the answer.
Yeah, for sure. And or what is your routine? How do you what's your intake like? What is a few simple questions. If you're serious about this business, be serious about it. Go through the modules that Jack provided for you. Go through as much education as you can. Surround yourself with people who are successful and people who are motivated, and you'll see that not a single one of them is going to ask you, hey, can you make me $1 million? No, they're going to go out and they're going to do it.
Yep.
And this group here is, we have pretty great group here, and there's a lot of information out there. If you're not going to educate yourself and be a part of it and help yourself, no one can help you.
Yeah. I mean, it's self-study. The primary, there's a Land Academy. I'm not selling anything here at all. The Land Academy caters to a lot of different levels of commitment, let's call it. Yeah. And the self-study program, which is our most popular, is probably because it's the cheapest, has the lowest success rate. The highest success rate comes from a program we have called Career Path. Yeah. In fact, that's how I think you started. Didn't you start? You know what? Tell that story. That's a good story.
Well, it circles back a little bit further than before I joined. I met a member who's been a longtime friend of mine. I'll just call him Mike for now. I'm not sure how much he wants his name blown out there. But Mike, you guys were starting the career path. It was an earlier career path. And he knew Samantha and I, and we'd been investing for a while. We hadn't done a land deal, but we'd done lots of real estate deals. And he approached us and said, hey, you're perfect for this. We didn't even know what Land Academy was, to be honest. And he said, you need to do this. So we ended up looking into it, and he kind of ran through some numbers with us to show us kind of how he'd done it. He'd been a member of Land Academy for quite some time. You guys know him pretty well too. Mm-hmm. And so what we ended up doing was just say, okay, if we're going to do this, we're going to sign up for Career Path. And we did. which was pretty funny because we had to do an onboarding interview and all that, and the questions were like, so how many land deals have you done? How many mailers have you done? And I was like, none. Zero. But we're going to do this. Okay. And thank God you guys took a flyer and let us do that, because not everyone is allotted who wants to join Career Path. Career Path is set aside for people who want to elevate their business and who want to continue to, to grow. There's not going to be a person who joins Career Path who says, okay, now I'm in Career Path, make me $1 million. These are business people who understand how to make themselves $1 million. And so we started our Career Path journey, and we started our Land Academy journey at the same time we started Career Path, and we really haven't looked back since. Samantha quit her job less than 6 months after we joined Career Path, and it wasn't just a standard job. She was a pretty important individual in her career.
Like where was the thought process there? Was there a series of deals that just convinced you guys? Like, you obviously had to go through some type of a set of experiences that led you both to say, especially for her quitting that in a pretty amazing job. Two intelligent people are making an intelligent decision to give up a huge revenue stream. Like, lead us up to that.
Yeah.
Or do you regret it?
Yeah, worst mistake. No, worst mistake we ever made. No, it is honestly, to get in front of it, it is the best decision we've ever made. But it's not the decision for everyone. We didn't make the decision out of necessity. We made the decision after we had evaluated everything. We had gone through Career Path. During Career Path, we sent out a mailer. During Career Path, we purchased a property. And shortly after that, we had sold that property for around $140,000 in net profit.
Wow.
And
that's not normal.
It's not normal. And then at that point, we had several other properties in escrow on the purchase side as well. And we decided, and we took a look at it, and we realized what a lot of members, what you've realized, what Jill realized, that, hey, this works. There's no doubt about it. I remember when I first started this, everyone kind of has that thought, and we don't really get that question that much anymore as things have progressed. But people ask, does this really work?
Yeah.
And
proof of concept. You proved the concept to yourselves.
Yeah.
You didn't watch somebody else do it like us or anybody else. 100%.
And we proved the concept, and we really realized that, hey, this is something that we are good at. I will say that we have natural ability to navigate this specific business. We're set up for it for whatever reason. We're blessed for that, and we also put ourselves in a position where we can cultivate our abilities to increase what we're capable of achieving. And we realized that, when selling that first property, it was like, there's no reason for you to continue down this W-2 job, to continue to travel to work, to continue to do all these things that we weighed the negatives and the positives, and there wasn't very many things that held us back, other than, Samantha's a CPA, which is difficult to achieve. That was our big holding ground. I was like, man, she spent a long time moving down that path, and she's done very great with it already. And she was moving up the corporate ladder faster than we could ever imagine. But, now she's the boss.
Yeah.
So it was an unusual path, but we proved the concept to ourselves, and we knew that that's what we were going to do. And realistically, it's, the best decision I think we've ever made.
Did it ever cross your mind, closing those original deals, that it was a fluke? And that, because I've had this happen before. We closed a few great deals right in a row, and I'm like, wow, I'm not sure we're going to repeat that. And then it happens 6 months later. So did you have that talk with her? Like, this might have been just a weird, strange experience, and how are we ever going to get back?
No, I understand that thought process. I think you even said it to me though before, is, if you continue to produce, and now this is fast forwarding a little bit, but if you're able to continually do something and be successful at it for 2 years, you have a successful business, right?
For sure.
I've had my fair share of struggles. I've had through business, and I've had to fight, claw, and move my way forward through businesses before. And I saw how ridiculously easy that was. And even if it wasn't a fluke and I can make a tenth of what I made there consistently, it would make sense. And it just made so much sense for me because it's like, this works. I know that. I'm in a community right now. I open up Discord and scroll to success stories and then reach out to those people and say, hey, can you tell me a little bit more? I guarantee you that they're going to respond to you and help you and talk with you. And I did some of that. I reached out to people in my career path. I reached out to other people and just said, hey, how is this going? And
you had Mike helping you too. You were probably asking Mike questions too, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And Mike's been a resource and we love Mike. He's been great for us. And we immersed ourselves into it. And at that point it was like, this is, even if no deal ever becomes as good as our first deal, which is a crazy first deal to be able to have, it's still going to work. And I know that.
What are you working on now? Do you have anything that's just come across through the pipeline really recently that you're excited about?
Well, was excited about was one, but we've moved on from that. So we purchased a property and we kind of took backing up when I say staying focused. This is why you don't move down the path that we all end up moving down, just thinking about it at least. And we purchased a property it was around $30,000 and it was a commercial property. And we ended up just, on a whim called the county and we usually call the county and just asked them what we can do with the property. And one of the things that they listed off was boat storage. And
they said that
because they want boats.
Because they want it.
They want it. It's on a lake. Right next to the lake, and they're out of boat storage, and it's a small community.
There's not a specific zoning for that, is there?
No. She started rattling off. She said the zoning, and she started rattling off, and the first thing she said was boat storage, and I said, man, boat storage sounds cool.
Hell yes.
And so we started moving down that path, and we realized that the return on our investment wasn't where we wanted it to be with building a facility like this. And so we were really excited about that. And now we're excited because we're listing that property for $150,000.
There you go.
And
that's the return on investment you want.
That's the return on the investment we want. So that should be listed any day now, but it's just funny because it is easy in this business to get distracted and start saying, hey, maybe I'm going to start a boat storage company. And now I'm thinking, I don't have time for that. I don't feel like doing that. I want to not start another business right now. So, but yeah, that was our excitement of I think last week. Drone photos will be coming in soon. So we're going to move on from that boat storage dream.
Isn't it amazing when you really just take a few steps back? Every once in a while I take a few steps back. And again, I'm not blowing smoke. It's just shocking that how much at any given time, how much real estate we control. Yeah. And there's people in our groups, because I know you help out with Career Path now, you and Samantha. There's a lot of different people that show up for Career Path that have stories. They all have stories like Karl's got one, I've got one. And what they bring to the table is so very different sometimes than the way that we do it. Like I remember the last Career Path, we had a wholesaler in there that would just send out hundreds of thousands of letters at a time. And
he'd mail the entire state at a time.
Pass backwards into money, And then I saw him in the chime in the success stories. There's a big run of success stories in the Land Academy Zips Discord, because it was the end of the year and then the beginning of the year, and so we're all kind of going to try to hit our numbers again this year. So, but he said, he did not have the year that he wanted to have. He made a ton of money, tons and tons of money, but I was a little surprised to hear him say that after all the stuff that he brought to the table at Career Path. Were you surprised?
Honestly, no. And the reason why is, we've talked about this before a few times of how important it is for us to control the deals. And I was surprised at how much money he was making. And he's a great guy. And I think he's going to do great. And he's so smart. He's, and so motivated. But Jill talks about it all the time. When people say, hey, I'm going to wholesale this deal, Jill, she pumps the brakes, says, hey, if this is a good enough deal, let's close on this. Let's make this deal our own. And his problem specifically, if you really want to get into that on Discord and read it, was that he wasn't able to find a buyer before his contract expired. And if you look at some of Samantha runs those reports with the days on market going up and down on the trending reports that she does, if you have a contract, if you're confident in the deal, we close on the deal, we buy that deal. If you're not confident on it and you're going to go through a wholesaling situation and days on market say increase due to maybe something crazy happens, like someone increases the interest rates or something, and days on market jump up, you're going to have a divide. Now you're going to have this situation where you have a property under contract where you don't own it, but you know it's worth $30,000 more than you have it under contract for, but you're not able to quite find that buyer within that short frame of time. Deals can fall apart. And that's why I see an issue with that wholesaling model. And the more I get into this business, the more I realize how important it is for us to control every aspect of the deal. And that's why we close on the properties. When we have confidence in them, we close on these properties.
That's exactly my point. In a roundabout way, you made my exact point. We're in the business of controlling real estate. There's a lot of different ways to do that. Wholesaling a property, you can get equitable title to a piece of real estate. You make an offer. The offer is accepted. You have 30 days to 90 days to actually close on the deal. And in a roundabout kind of seedy way, in my opinion, you go and try to find a buyer and you can't. So how do you really control that real estate? I don't think so.
Yeah.
If you really want to control a real estate because you believe in the deal, like this boat storage deal, I'm sure you guys believed in it or you wouldn't have bought it. You just buy the thing. It's not a matter of, I don't have the money though, Jack. Come on. There's tons and tons of people, us included, who have a lot of money and a lot of knowledge in this industry within the Land Academy group that are going to fund your deals. And so I don't understand the wholesaling model. I think I've never done it. I understand that I really think in the end, wholesaling sings to two types of people. There's two things that are really attractive. Number one, you don't have to put any money into it. That innately concerns me. I don't like to do things for free. I'm not a person who searches around the internet for 2 hours to try to find the free version of an app when I can spend $3 on it. I just think free is bad, number one. And number two, I think there's there are a huge element of investment / entrepreneur wannabe people that think that you have to halfway or sort of underhandedly accomplish something without doing it above board to make money. There's always been this like that, the whole organized crime. Those people are rich because they cheated. That's just not the case. We have a packed group full of really affluent people that have made money in real estate above board, and so it's sad. Yeah, wholesaling is it's just, I would rather do half the deals that I could do if I were a successful wholesaler and actually buy the property and sleep at night and resell it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, back to the boat storage deal, we purchased that for $30,000, knowing very well that if we move forward with a boat storage or if we sell the property, which is what we ended up with the direction we ended up going in, we were going to be successful at it because we had confidence in that deal and we controlled every aspect of it. I couldn't imagine if I put that thing under contract and try to list it and just watch that thing fall apart.
Well, what you would do is probably try to sell it for 40.
Yeah, right.
Buy it for 30 and sell it for 40 instead of buying it for 30 and selling it for 150. What's going to happen because you control it? Because
you're not calling the county. You're not doing all that kind of stuff when it comes to these things. And if you are, I mean, I don't know. I doubt it. Yeah, exactly. We own that. We own that property. We were able to really own the scenario around it because that property wasn't worth what it was worth being sold as a piece of residential raw vacant land as it was perceived, because that's not what the city planning had in mind for it. And now it's on the radar, and that's why we did the legwork on that.
What's next? What are you guys what are you trying to improve on in 2024?
We're always trying to improve on everything. That's a hard question to throw at me, but
that's why I'm here.
What is next for us?
We can talk about working with your spouse if you want. Or is that what you're going to work on this year?
Yeah, we're going to work on that. No, I mean, so Samantha and I we're moving into our third year in this land investing business. This is the year that we're really wanting to start to narrow down. Last year, we really narrowed down our processes. We got into the CRM. We, Airtable is what we use. any of them, we really narrowed down a lot of our processes so they're streamlined and more efficient. And, so moving forward, I'd like to really hammer that out because it is nice to, used to preach about, this is a business that you run from the back of your boat. That resonates with me. And when you have systems in place, when you have when you've done the things that you need to do, that's possible. And it's not possible to run around like a chicken with your head cut off, answering phone calls, writing down, offer ID numbers on a piece of paper, and then say, I'll call John back and put it on a Post-it note. You can't operate your business from a distance. And we really do want to be able to operate our business at an arm's length to do quality work, but to be able to be consistently, operating this business at a high level, you need to have systems in place, and we really want to, I guess, test that water a lot more.
All right. So you're improving on your systems.
Yeah.
We're just increasing our volume. That's it.
Volume of deals,
just volume of mail, which will have a direct effect on the deals that we do. But we've been, to our fault, we have been over selective on the transactions that we do for probably the last 3 years. And so I would like to put some channels in place where we take a fantastic $15,000 profit deal and send it to somebody in our group. We're trying to figure that out because right now we'll pass on that deal. We'll pass on it and we will just say it just doesn't fit our acquisition criteria instead of sending it to somebody else. We're trying to do that. We haven't done that in the past because it ends up, for whatever reason, and I'm sure you can attest to this, it ends up coming back to us somehow with work that we have to do. Like selling a car to a friend. Yeah. It's just for whatever don't ever do that. For whatever reason, selling a car to a friend because you think you're doing something good for them is going to come back to you somehow in a negative way. Yeah. People are laughing on the other side of the camera right now.
Yeah, I'm laughing.
Ever sold a car to your friend? You know what I'm talking about because they're not your friend anymore.
That's interesting, though. I mean, yeah, that's so expanding the amount of deals that you guys are doing. Are you expanding the areas that you're going to?
No. And I'll tell you why, because we've sent millions and millions and millions of offers out. We've got about 4 specific areas that we work, and they've always been good to us. Okay.
So a little bit about how Samantha and I send mail. We don't work 4 specific areas at a time. We do, but Samantha, we enjoy finding new areas to mail. It's like one of our favorite things to do, and we stay. I guess we stay in a regionally. We stay in areas, but we move around quite a bit. And it'd be something to look into if we should start to narrow down our area, because it is nice to work in the same area when you have your resources in place.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
that's really one of the reasons we have real estate agents
and title companies that you trust. I mean, we ran into a few title companies this year that I can't stand. And when you're going into new areas like that, you have to find a new title company, and you don't know until you know that you picked the wrong title company sometimes. And
you mail an area that you've mailed 15 times before, and a property comes back, and you could just know within seconds. In my case, because I've been there physically, in all the areas where we send mail, and I can just tell you, I know it's going to work or it's not. It's on the right side of the highway. Or nope, on the left side. Yep, we're buying it. That kind of stuff. So maybe some of it's lazy. I'm not sure, but you know what it is? I know we will hit our target financial goals if I stick to it. That's what it is.
Did you see the mailer that came across your desk the other day?
The one that
Samantha sent you a mailer on accident.
We got a couple of your letters.
Yeah, Jill signed it and sent it back, but she didn't know
did?
Yeah, it wasn't. She wrote on there, "Just kidding." It was a property you had already sold, but it was just funny. We got a signed purchase agreement from Jack and Jill, so that's nice.
I didn't know that. I don't know. That's how much Jill and I talk at work. I didn't even know she did that.
Yeah, it was just funny.
Well, thanks, Karl. Great information, and I look forward to drinking with you tonight.
Absolutely. From what I understand, the girls open a bottle of wine on their on their podcast.
We're stuck doing this. Thanks. We'll see you soon.
We hope you found our content valuable, and we appreciate your support. If you have not already, please check out our channel and hit the subscribe button.
And your comments and suggestions help us to create the content you're here for. Hitting the like button helps to support our channel's algorithm and gauge your interest for future shows.